Hey everybody. Just wanted to go over how to spot reversals, a few tips, tricks, and tools that I personally use, and some things that I know you guys are going to be familiar with, things that I've talked about before. Some of those things including using moving averages, using supply and demand, using pivot points with confirmation, and looking for a combination of all these things when we're looking for reversals on a chart. I think this is a good lesson to go over, as I saw some people struggling trying to time entries. The thing with timing an entry, especially when the market's weak, is you don't want to get caught if there's further downside. I always preach that I need confirmation on the daily chart before I look to enter positions, and gonna quickly go over some different strategies and a visual with what I'm talking about and what you guys can personally look for. So first thing I wanted to talk about is using your moving averages when looking for reversals, and specifically the 9 EMA is my personal favorite. I use this all the time. It's also very viable on the daily chart. It's not just an intraday indicator. Let's take a look at this UPST chart as an example. So as we can see here, and in multiple spots on this chart, our 9 EMA is a telltale sign of the direction of our stock. So right in here, we can see on UPST, we break below our 9 EMA and continue our downtrend. Now, the lovely thing about the 9 EMA is when we break below the 9 EMA, that's a good indication that we're going to start a downtrend. As you can see, test the 9 EMA a few times, get rejected, and continue this downtrend. Now, on the flip side, a great thing to look for on the daily is, okay, maybe we get a close above the 9 EMA after 2-3 weeks being below that. It's a good indicator that, okay, maybe now we are actually going to reverse to the upside. A really, really good example of that is right here on this candle in May. We get a close above this 9 EMA on our daily chart, and you can see it's the start of an uptrend. Nice confirmation here, bounce off the 9 EMA once, twice, continue to ride it up. Little pullback here, but end up bouncing again. Nice movement all the way up, and then you can see again we break below our 9 EMA. 4 or 5 days of downtrend, and then we get rejected. Continuous downtrend as we're continuously getting rejected at our 9 EMA. We go and we look here, close above our 9 EMA. Indication, okay, maybe we're in for a reversal. And what happens? Pivot, confirmation, ride our 9 EMA. And man, we ride the 9 EMA on UPST for a long time. You can see just constant movement, constant confirmation as we bounce off our 9 EMA all the way up on this ride, all the way up until about 23rd, 24th, 25th of September. Then what do we see? Break our 9 EMA, continue to flush here. So that's the first thing I wanted to go over. When looking for reversals, the 9 EMA is your best friend. It's a very good indication whether you're breaking to the upside with confirmation over, or breaking through and breaking to the downside. And it's just confirmation both ways. Okay, maybe we're in a strong uptrend and we get a close under the 9 EMA on the daily. Good chances are we're in for some downside. And vice versa. In a downtrend, we get a close above the 9 EMA, good chance we're in for some upside. So, very, very good tool and very, very useful tool to use. And using that in confirmation with my next point and my next indicator is looking for pivots with confirmation. So, also looking at this UPST chart, we have a pivot, a green candle after this continuous downtrend where we're under our 9 EMA. We have a pivot and then confirmation of the pivot. Now, this isn't to say that we continue green and we continue with upward momentum. We could get a red close on the daily, a green close, or vice versa. We could get another green close on the daily, and then a red close. It's not 100% that we get a pivot with confirmation and then it's the start of an uptrend. If that were the case, I would be a billionaire. We'd all be billionaires because we'd just be looking for green pivot, green confirmation, and then if we knew it would start an uptrend, we would make endless amounts of money. It's just an indication of, okay, maybe we're done with this downside. Maybe this is the start of an uptrend. So using our 9 EMA, we see the pivot with confirmation. Now, what is the next step for us? We need to break above our 9 EMA, and then we may see continuous upside. So to recap quick, 9 EMA, very, very important. Using pivots with confirmation, very, very important. And the other thing I use is supply and demand. Now, I don't have a specific example on this chart of supply and demand, but I would like to go over it quick. So you guys know that I love using supply and demand. Supply and demand is a great tool when looking for reversals, whether that's intraday, on the daily. Say we go ahead here and draw a zone on this pivot. Let me zoom in on this chart. Say we draw this zone. Okay, this is our demand zone. Say we back test this zone, but we bounce off. We get a nice wick within our zone and we end up bouncing out of this zone. This is another tool to use when looking for confirmation, looking for reversals. Okay, now we've bounced off this again out of this demand zone that was just established. We haven't back tested this zone at all. We need to confirm some kind of support. If this zone is back tested and we get another bounce out of this zone, okay, that's confirmation for us that this is our new support. This would go the same as if we were using the intraday chart, the weekly chart, monthly chart, using supply and demand, looking for, okay, we back test this zone, we get a wick out, we get a bounce out of this zone. Okay, this is our new support, and vice versa. I can take this and draw this as a supply zone. So say we have some price action in here for a day or two, and then we end up testing this upper resistance, this upper supply zone. If we get a bounce out of that zone, then we know that this is resistance. We know, okay, we're going to get rejected, see some downside, and this is the level we need to break through to continue momentum upward. And say we do test this zone a third time and end up breaking through. Okay, again, there's confirmation that we've now turned this resistance into some kind of support, and we are continuing upward momentum. So those are three very important things to look when looking for reversals. Those are three things that I use all the time. Some other things that I also use, for example, say we're in a downtrend and we get some consolidation here. Pretty good sign that within this consolidation, we'll eventually make a move upward. If we get consolidation and we break to the downside and break that consolidated support, then we will see continuous downside. But if we consolidate and break that consolidation area, okay, really good sign that we're in for a bigger move and the start of an uptrend. So I use all of those. I'll use your VPVRs that I've done a lesson on already to look for support and resistance, but talking strictly looking for reversals on a chart, very important, looking for a 9 EMA cross in either direction. Looking at your pivot points with confirmation, looking for inside bar pivots with confirmation, and then also looking at your supply and demand zones. So guys, I really like doing this, like doing the live analysis. This is the first live lesson I've done. I will, of course, do more in the future, but please let me know if this was as of some use to you guys. Really enjoyed doing it. So let me know. Thanks, guys.